The show revolves around a boy who was born with no limbs or skin, which was the result of his father making a pact with the 12 demons for wealth and power. Cast away, this boy is saved, and as luck wanted it, he grows up to fight these demons with prosthetics weapons. But he is not alone on this journey, as a little orphan named Dororo is along with him, seeing his battles and journey. Will the boy be able to kill all 12 demons and recover what he was sacrificed for? Keep watching. So the tale of Daigo begins with a woman in the throes of childbirth, her distress palpable. Sensing the urgency of the situation, Sir Daigo embarks on a treacherous journey to the Hall of Hell, a place shrouded in mystery and darkness. Upon entering the hall, he is confronted by an old priest, a beacon of wisdom and warning. The priest, with a voice trembling with concern, cautions Daigo about the dire consequences of his choice. He implores Daigo to reconsider, to listen to the echoes of Buddha's teachings, for stepping into the Hall of Hell means forsaking his humanity and embracing a future of eternal torment. But Daigo, driven by desperation and consumed by the hunger for power, remains resolute. Ignoring the priest's pleas, he unsheathes his katana and commits a heinous act, silencing the voice of reason forever. With famine and epidemics ravaging the lands under his rule, Daigo turns his back on Buddha and all that is holy. In a pact with demons, he offers them anything they desire in exchange for the strength and power to overcome the trials that beset him. Praying fervently to 12 demons, Daigo's desire for power knows no bounds. He is willing to sacrifice anything to give them whatever they demand. Little does he know, this scene is not the first, but a haunting flashback to a pact he had already sealed. As the storm rages outside, lightning crashes down, illuminating the room with an eerie glow. The sight that greets Daigo is one of sheer horror and despair. His own flesh and blood, his newborn son, lies before him, robbed of limbs, eyes, nose, and even skin. A grotesque manifestation of the consequences of his unholy bargain. Daigo is initially shocked, but once he realizes that the demons granted his wish, he no longer cares. The boy's mother still wants her child regardless of what he looks like. However, Daigo leaves her crying as he demands that she bear him another child. The child is grotesque looking. As the old woman puts the child in a boat, she is eaten by a demon, who is then killed by an old blind man. Daigo's land begins to prosper as he was promised. We flash forward 16 years during a war. Jukai is a doctor that gives the dead his prosthetic prototypes. We are introduced to Dororo, a little thief. He steals from a gang of men that end up beating him up and attempting to drown him. While being assaulted, the now grown-up child of Daigo, Hyakkimaru, arrives. However, he is not interested in saving Dororo. He is focusing on a demon. The demon looks like garbage to the men, then it attacks, eating them. When it grabs the boy, Hyakkimaru attacks. He removes his prosthetic limbs, revealing sword-like arms underneath. He quickly defeats the demon, using quick abilities, cutting down the bridge around them. As the boy thanks him, his skin on his face returns, forcing the boy to ask him how he could possibly be human. The blind old priest meets what I assume is a demon in the woods. For his vantage point, the odd-looking demon is nothing but a green aura. Dororo is desperately trying to communicate with Hyakkimaru. It is clear to him that Hyakkimaru can see something as shown in the battle from the previous episode. Also, Hyakkimaru is able to grab berries to eat and fish. After Dororo cooks the fish, the narrator explains how the warrior sees the world. Hyakkimaru cannot see or hear. From the moment he entered this world, Hyakkimaru possessed a unique ability. He had the extraordinary gift of seeing the fire of the soul, which allowed him to discern the essence of beings. By observing the color of their souls, he could determine whether they were friend or foe. It was a remarkable power that set him apart from others. But there was more to Hyakkimaru than just his ability to perceive souls. He was also blessed with superhuman senses and strength, making him a formidable force to be reckoned with, capable of facing any challenge that came his way. Enter Dororo, cunning and resourceful companion who saw an opportunity to harness Hyakkimaru's incredible fighting skills for their own gain. Together they embarked on a journey through the vast lands, encountering a small village that was plagued by a terrifying monster. This creature, whose attacks had caused both villagers and travelers to vanish without a trace, instilled fear and unease in the hearts of all who encountered it. The village was desperate for a hero to save them from this relentless menace, and Dororo saw a chance to capitalize on Hyakkimaru's powers. With their combined strengths, Hyakkimaru and Dororo devised a plan to confront the monster and bring peace back to the village. It was a daring and dangerous endeavor, but they were determined to succeed. As they prepared for the battle ahead, the anticipation and tension grew, knowing that the fate of the village rested on their shoulders. The stage was set for an epic showdown between Hyakkimaru with his extraordinary abilities and the fearsome monster that had terrorized the land. The outcome of this confrontation would not only determine the safety of the village, but also shape the destiny of our courageous duo. Upon their arrival, Dororo and Hyakimaru are greeted by Denkichi, who is temporarily assuming the role of the village chief, Bandai. Denkichi extends his hospitality, offering them a place to stay and a warm meal. It is during this encounter that the monster, accompanied by the sound of its bell, makes its appearance, inquiring about their desires. Interestingly, despite its fearsome reputation, the monster proves to be far from a genuine threat. Its appearance has misled people into perceiving it as dangerous, but Hyakimaru possesses a unique ability. His gift of seeing the fire of the soul allows him to discern the true intentions of others. In this case, he can perceive the true danger that lies within Bandai while recognizing the harmlessness of the misunderstood monster. The story of Dororo takes an intriguing turn as Hyakimaru's extraordinary perception grants him the insight to differentiate between friend and foe, unveiling the true nature of those they encounter. Regular humans can only see the surface of a person. This results in a bias. Bandai is a beautiful woman, as Dororo quickly notes, meaning everyone assumes she is good, while the deformed man is dubbed a monster. Hyakimaru quickly attacks Bandai. He and Dororo are placed in the storehouse. They meet the old priest there. He explains to Dororo how Hyakimaru can see. As they speak, a monster comes from the well. Hyakimaru attacks it and heads to fight Bandai. She reveals herself to be a demon. However, Denkichi helps Bandai escape, revealing that he feeds the travelers to the demon to save the villagers. The demon is surprised to see that Hyakimaru is still alive. It suggests that the reason is that it failed to take him. He kills the demon. The demon from the beginning once again asks you want, then disappears into the ground. Underneath it is the traveler's gold that was eaten by Bandai. Addicted to the money, Denkichi couldn't stop. He wanted the bell's sound to stop so that he wasn't reminded of what he did. The bell was from the first traveler. Hyakimaru reveals his name to Dororo and begins to receive his next lost organ. Daigo notices something is wrong and orders an underling to investigate. Suddenly, one of his organs returned. It is revealed how Dr. Jukai came to learn and provide prosthetics. During the war, Jukai worked for the Shiba clan, crucifying wounded enemies, until his loved one is killed by a soldier. Traumatized, Jukai jumps into the sea. Years later, Jukai becomes a doctor that helps the poor for free. He is aided by an orphan named Kanami. After Jukai gives a boy that had his arm cut off by a samurai a prosthetic arm, Kanami is told of the rumor of Jukai's past. When confronted, Jukai tells the truth. He reveals that he was saved by a ship when he jumped off the cliff. Kanami becomes furious, as Jukai murdered his father. Jukai does not beg for his life, but just a chance to make a prosthetic for the boy. Kanami then removes his prosthetic leg and limps away. Jukai finds Hyakimaru and raises him. We fast forward 6 years as Hyakimaru is seen swinging through trees. He appears to have had powers from the beginning. He gives him prosthetics and names him Hyakimaru. While searching through the woods, we see that Hyakimaru pulls a flower from the stem. By removing the flower, it seems to lose its life force and goes from a green aura to red as it dissipates. He is attacked by a wolf-like demon, but is saved by Jukai. The demons appear to be attracted to Hyakimaru's powers. Jukai then teaches him to fight. Dororo gives us a glimpse of the life of the brother of Hyakimaru. After receiving guidance and training from the skilled Jukai, Hyakimaru becomes a formidable warrior, honing his techniques to perfection. With his newfound mastery, he embarks on a relentless mission to vanquish countless demons that cross his path. Jukai, the wise mentor, observes a significant change in Hyakimaru. Due to his unique condition of not feeling pain, Hyakimaru exhibits an unwavering fearlessness and an absence of hesitation when it comes to engaging in intense battles, slashing and killing demons without restraint. This lack of fear and hesitation enables him to face his adversaries head-on, driven solely by his determination to reclaim what was taken from him. In a surprising turn of events, Hyakimaru discovers that whenever he successfully eliminates a demon, a part of his own body regenerates. This realization leads Jukai to a profound understanding of what has likely occurred to Hyakimaru. Recognizing the significance of this revelation, Jukai crafts a remarkable prosthetic limb, embedding a sword within it, to aid Hyakimaru in his ongoing quest. Meanwhile, Dororo and the old priest engage in a thought-provoking discussion, contemplating the nature of the deal that was struck between the demons and Hyakimaru. They puzzle over the motives behind the demon's desire for his body parts, unable to reach a definitive conclusion. The mystery surrounding the true purpose behind the demon's actions deepens, adding an extra layer of intrigue to the unfolding narrative. As the story progresses, Hyakimaru experiences a profound transformation. He returns after a fierce battle, having regained his sense of pain. Curious to test his newfound pain tolerance, he boldly steps upon the fire, symbolizing his reconnection with the sensations that were once lost to him. The day starts with Hyakimaru enjoying the rain. With his ability to feel returning, many mundane experiences must be profound. Dororo does not seem to be too impressed, though. He talks to a woman that was praying for her brother to return from war. As they are talking, a man asks for help, collapsing with a large gash in his back. Hyakimaru sprints off and Dororo follows. They find a terrifying sight, a massacre, as Hyakimaru stood face to face with the enigmatic figure, concealed behind the towering presence of a majestic tree. The atmosphere around them became thick with anticipation. The man's hands clenched tightly around his unusual sword, its ominous aura seemingly pulsating with a sinister hunger for blood. He ominously proclaimed that the blade craved violence and had the power to consume its wielder. In the midst of this tense encounter, Dororo, always perceptive and quick-witted, detected a subtle shift in the man's countenance. There was a fleeting glimpse of uncertainty, a glimmer of doubt that briefly flickered in his eyes. It was as if the weight of his actions and the consequences of yielding to the sword's dark influence were weighing heavily on his conscience. And then, in an instant, clash erupted. The man launched himself towards Hyakimaru, driven by a fervent desire to strike him down with the cursed blade. The air crackled with energy as their swords collided, the clash resonating through the surrounding forest. The battle was fierce and intense, each strike and parry a testament to their skill and determination. As the fight raged on, the true nature of the man's intentions gradually unraveled. Behind the facade of aggression and violence, there was a glimmer of vulnerability. It became apparent that he was not merely a heartless adversary, but a complex individual trapped in the clutches of the sword's dark allure. In the midst of the chaos, Hyakimaru's unwavering resolve and Dororo's keen insight became their greatest assets. They fought not only to protect themselves, but also to free the man from the grip of the cursed blade. Their actions were driven by a profound understanding that redemption and salvation were within reach, even for those consumed by darkness. With every clash of their blades, Hyakimaru and the mysterious man danced a dangerous dance, their movements a reflection of their inner turmoil and conflicting desires. The battle was not only a physical contest, but a struggle for the man's very soul. As the dust settled and the final blow was struck, the outcome of this fateful encounter remained uncertain. The air hung heavy with the weight of their choices, and the consequences of their actions reverberated through the tranquil forest. Only time would reveal the true impact of this encounter and the path that lay ahead for each. In the midst of their fierce confrontation, a single drop of blood trickled down Hyakimaru's cheek, marking his first injury in combat. It served as a reminder of the dangers he faced on his journey to reclaim his stolen body parts. Yet, even with this wound, Hyakimaru's determination remained unwavering. With a swift maneuver, he managed to disarm the man, the odd sword becoming entangled in his artificial leg. A stroke of luck, perhaps, but it gave Hyakimaru a momentary advantage. However, the situation took an unexpected turn when Dororo, in an attempt to help, mistakenly grabbed hold of the sword instead of retrieving Hyakimaru's leg. The consequences of this action were yet to be revealed, adding another layer of uncertainty to their already perilous encounter. Osushi, the woman from earlier, finds the swordsman when searching for Dororo and Hyakimaru. It turns out to be her brother Tanosuke. Meanwhile, Dororo is being dragged against his will by the sword. He resists, but eventually the sword puts him into a trance. Dororo arrives at a village, but Hyakimaru intercepts him. As Osushi tries to reconnect with her disinterested brother, he remembers being ordered to murder a man that built his master a castle because he feared the man may spill its secrets. The turn of events took a dark and unexpected twist as Tanosuke, initially refusing the sinister proposition, found himself presented with a sword meant for his own demise. In a chilling act of desperation, he succumbed to the influence of Nihiru and used the very weapon to murder the man who had given it to him. Nihiru, a name that resonated with an ominous aura, had lain dormant until this moment. Its awakening came at the cost of Tanosuke's soul, and the consequences were dire. Drawn to its malevolent power, Tanosuke seized the opportunity to possess the sword once Hyakimaru had disarmed Dororo. A clash between Tanosuke and Hyakimaru ensued, and Osushi, a witness to this harrowing spectacle, could only watch in horror. Despite his determination, Tanosuke proved no match for Hyakimaru's unwavering resolve. The battle ended with Tanosuke's defeat and the shattering of the accursed Nihiru sword. The destruction of the demon sword, however, held a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. As the shattered pieces of Nihiru fell to the ground, Hyakimaru regained a crucial body part, his ears. For the first time, he experienced the bittersweet sensation of hearing, and the rain served as the backdrop to Osushi's tearful cries. This moment marked a significant milestone in Hyakimaru's journey to reclaim his stolen body parts, but it also carried a weight of mixed emotions. The return of his sense of hearing brought both joy and sorrow as the sounds of the world flooded his newfound senses, intertwining with the melancholic raindrops. As Hyakimaru continued his journey, he encountered a young girl named Mio, who would play a significant role in his life. However, amidst this new connection, Hyakimaru faced unexpected challenges with his newly restored hearing. The once silent world now bombarded him with the cacophony of animal sounds, overwhelming his senses. While Hyakimaru struggled to adapt to this influx of auditory information, Dororo found solace in the newfound quietude. It was a remarkable twist of fate that something presumed to be a blessing, such as the restoration of his hearing, turned out to be a burden for Hyakimaru. The irony was not lost on those who witnessed his plight. Indeed, one would have assumed that regaining his ability to hear would be a cause for celebration. However, the reality proved different. The sensory overload posed unexpected challenges for Hyakimaru, highlighting the complexities of his journey to reclaim his stolen senses. It was a reminder that the restoration of pain receptors, which one might expect to be troublesome, paled in comparison to the overwhelming nature of his newfound hearing. In the midst of grappling with these sensory struggles, Hyakimaru and Dororo found themselves under attack by a formidable flying demon. Its appearance instantly brought to mind the image of Fiaro, a bird-like creature from the world of Pokemon. The encounter with this menacing creature added yet another layer of danger to their already perilous journey, testing their resolve and resourcefulness. Hyakimaru manages to damage the bird with his arms, but does not manage to kill. However, the old priest arrives to deliver the death blow. Dororo informs the priest that Hyakimaru has been having trouble with his hearing. He plans to find some medicine in the big town across the river. Priest informs him of the war that is brewing, making it too dangerous to travel. The Sakai clan has betrayed an ally, resulting in war. When the morning arrives, Hyakimaru wanders off and meets a young woman in the river. The girl's name is Mio. She lives with other orphan children. Many of these kids don't have their limbs, resulting in using wood tied to them with bandages. Mio begins to sing while heading out to get food. Hyakimaru finds her voice to be pleasant. The old priest finds a better home for the children, out of the way of the war. The problem is a demon owns the land. Hyakimaru quickly heads to kill it. As the story unfolded, Mio made a fateful decision to align herself with the enemy forces, a choice that took Dororo by surprise. Determined to stand by her side, Dororo resolved to accompany Mio on this dangerous path, fully aware of the risks involved. Meanwhile, Hyakimaru and the wise old priest found themselves facing off against a formidable demon. The creature's pincers erupted from the ground, and with a menacing spin, it began to pull them both towards its terrifying presence. The battle that ensued was intense, with Hyakimaru and the priest using their skills and determination to fend off the relentless onslaught. In the midst of the chaos, Dororo stumbled upon a shocking revelation about Mio's occupation. She discovered that Mio was engaged in prostitution, a heartbreaking truth that added a layer of complexity to their already perilous situation. The weight of this knowledge hung heavy on Dororo's heart as they continued to fight alongside Hyakimaru. However, the consequences of the battle proved devastating for Hyakimaru. In a cruel twist of fate, he suffered a severe loss as the lower parts of his legs were torn away. The excruciating pain that followed was unimaginable, and for the first time, Hyakimaru's anguished screams echoed through the air, finally breaking the silence that had once plagued him. This tragic turn of events marked a significant setback in Hyakimaru's journey, leaving him physically wounded and emotionally shattered. The price he paid for his relentless pursuit of regaining his stolen senses was higher than ever before. As the group grappled with the aftermath of the battle, they were left to contemplate the sacrifices made and the challenges that still lay ahead. Dororo leaves Mio stunned at what he just witnessed. He quickly runs into Hyakimaru and the old priest as they return from their battle against the demon. Mio returns with food for the children. She is clearly bruised as she helps Hyakimaru. Tahomaru gets some attention this episode. He wants to go to war, certain that he would crush the Sakai clan. He seems to care a great deal about his mother's view of him. Tahomaru feels that his mother does not care for him. While his mother never was cruel to him, she paid him little to no attention. Tahomaru demands to fight Hyakimaru and recovers as he remembers his encounter with the demon. Mio tries to soothe him with her song. The priest warns Dororo that Hyakimaru may not be as good. Mio is insecure about her soul. Her job has made her feel dirty and she is ashamed of herself. This belief is unsurprising. Dororo and Mio have a conversation regarding her job. He tells her that the one job his mother didn't do was prostitution. A few days later, Hyakimaru fights the demon again as soldiers arrive to find the children. Hyakimaru succeeds in killing the demon. Once Hyakimaru defeats the antlion demon and regains his leg, he and Dororo head back to the temple. But before they get there, they see a plume of smoke rising into the sky from the temple. Lack of hope was well-founded as Mio's use of both sides of the war comes back to haunt her. She and the children are massacred. A group of scouts from the original army she worked for saw her enter the camp of the enemy army, and so when she returns to their camp, they capture her on suspicion of being a spy. Instead, the soldiers go to the temple where she lives with her children, set it on fire, and then slaughter everyone in sight. By the time Hyakimaru and Dororo arrive, the bodies of the children are strewn across the ground, and Mio is barely alive. As Mio's life force begins to wane, she finds solace in the familiar melody of her song, just as she always had in times of despair. Even in the face of her impending demise, her voice resonates with a haunting beauty that pierces through the darkness. Unbeknownst to her, this song serves as a poignant revelation to Hyakimaru, who, despite his inability to see, senses the imminent tragedy unfolding before him. In a surge of overwhelming anguish and fury, Hyakimaru's heart ignites with a righteous rage. The sight of Mio's fading vitality and the knowledge of her impending demise unleash a torrent of emotions within him. The soldiers who stand as the catalysts for her suffering become the targets of his wrath. With a swift and brutal ferocity, he unleashes his vengeance upon them, each striking a testament to the depth of his love for Mio and the unforgiving consequences of their actions. But as the battle unfolds, a sense of trepidation grips Dororo's heart. The transformation she witnesses in Hyakimaru, his primal growls and the blood-soaked visage he now wears, instill a fear within her. She cannot help but wonder if the priest's cautionary words about a lurking monster hidden within Hyakimaru may hold some truth. The line between righteous fury and the descent into darkness blurs, and Dororo is left grappling with the uncertainty of what lies ahead. As the flames of the burning temple dance in the night sky, the world around them becomes a backdrop to the profound tragedy that has unfolded. Hyakimaru, cradling Mio's lifeless body in his arms, clings to her with a desperate longing. In this moment of profound grief, his voice, once silent, breaks through the darkness as he utters her name, a single word that holds within it a lifetime of unspoken emotions. The weight of this moment hangs heavy in the air, as the temple's destruction mirrors the crumbling of Hyakimaru's innocence and the birth of a new chapter in his journey. The echoes of his first word reverberate through the charred remnants, a testament to the indomitable spirit that burns within him. Dororo encounters a spider demon in the process of eating a man that seems infatuated with her. Hyakimaru fights it off. However, she escapes when she webs Hyakimaru to a tree. The travelers enter a nearby village which has a problem with men disappearing at night. The next day, the kindly Yajiro finds the ailing demon on the trail, who appears as a beautiful woman. It turns out that the spider demon has been kidnapping the villagers. The demon wraps herself in a cocoon of a web and turns herself into a normal-appearing woman. She is found by a man named Yajiro. He gives her the name Ohagi and feeds her rice. Dororo meets Yajiro, who tells him that a reward has been posted for the demon. Yajiro is forced to keep working in terrible conditions. A man died during his job. Ohagi asks if it is worth working to death. Yajiro captures a cockroach and lets it go. Ohagi asks why Yajiro saved it. He says he believes that life is life, and humans and bugs are the same. Ohagi struggles to cure her hunger. She clearly likes Yajiro and is unwilling to eat him. Ohagi appears emaciated, and Yajiro hopes to help her later. Meanwhile, Dororo and Hyakimaru are hungry and eat flowers. Hyakimaru and Dororo encounter Ohagi and Yajiro at night. As Dororo tells him that she is a monster, he reveals that he is the kidnapper. He has been helping villagers escape this miserable village. They are attacked by soldiers looking to capture Yajiro. Ohagi fights them, eating 2 of them. She and Yajiro escape, however. They are eventually caught by the soldiers. Yajiro is hit by several arrows. Ohagi attacks the soldiers. She transforms into her spider form, but unlike other episodes of Dororo, she escapes with Yajiro. instead of being killed by Hyakimaru. Yajiro takes Ohagi to a secret passage in the mountain, but is attacked by the Lord's troops and Yajiro is wounded. Enraged, Ohagi attacks and defeats the troops, but this attracts Hyakimaru to her. As they prepare to fight to the death, the color of Ohagi's soul changes as she worries about Yajiro, so Hyakimaru withdraws. The couple leave and Hyakimaru and Dororo continue on their way. As the dark cloud loomed ominously over the village, a torrent of ashen rain fell, casting a somber shadow upon the land. Faced with the relentless torment of the massive flying centipede demon known as Nokosaragumo, the villagers were left with a desperate choice. One brave villager suggested the unthinkable, a sacrificial bride. It was believed that offering a bride to the demon would appease its wrath and spare the entire village from its merciless destruction. The weight of this decision hung heavy in the air as the villagers grappled with the moral dilemma before them. The bride, chosen from their own community, would have to make the ultimate sacrifice for the greater good. The name Nokosaragumo became a haunting whisper, a symbol of the village's fear and desperation. Amongst the turmoil, Saru, an orphan whose life had once been saved by the very bride who was to be sacrificed, felt an unwavering determination to save her. Teaming up with Dororo, a steadfast companion, Saru embarked on a perilous journey to rescue the bride from her impending doom. As Saru arrived at the scene of the sacrifice, he was met with a bittersweet revelation. His sister, the bride, had made the courageous decision to offer herself for the sake of the village and, most importantly, for Saru's well-being. The depth of her sacrifice resonated within Saru's heart, filling him with a mix of gratitude, grief, and determination to honor her sacrifice. However, just as they thought their mission was within reach, the demon descended upon the village, shrouding everything in a suffocating black mist. The darkness blinded Hyakimaru, rendering him defenseless against the impending threat. The stakes were higher than ever before as Saru and Dororo found themselves facing the demon's wrath, their every move guided by their unwavering resolve to save the village and protect their loved ones. In this moment of darkness and uncertainty, the true strength of their bond and the power of their determination would be put to the test. As the black mist swirled around them, threatening to consume everything in its path, Saru and Dororo braced themselves for the battle that would determine the fate of the village and the lives intertwined within its fragile existence. In the midst of the chaotic battle, Hyakimaru found himself in a state of helplessness. Blinded by the black mist, his sight stolen by the demon, he was rendered useless in the face of the looming threat. The demon, seizing the opportunity, lunged towards Saru, its jaws ready to consume him. But in a selfless act of bravery, his sister pushed him out of harm's way, sacrificing herself and ending up swallowed whole by Nokosaragumo. The demon escaped unscathed, leaving Saru and Dororo devastated and filled with a renewed determination to avenge their fallen comrade. With their hearts heavy and their spirits unyielding, Dororo and Saru devised a plan to defeat the demon once and for all. They understood that sunlight held the key to Nokosaragumo's vulnerability. Dororo, taking on the role of a decoy bride, lured the demon into a vulnerable position. As the demon lunged towards Dororo, Saru unleashed a fiery arrow, causing a magnificent explosion that momentarily disoriented the creature. However, the demon quickly recovered, its resilience proving to be a formidable obstacle. Undeterred, Hyakimaru utilized his heightened senses, honed by his years of darkness, to locate the demon. The sound of arrows hitting the demon became his guide, allowing him to pinpoint its precise location. In a daring move, Dororo attached himself to Nokosaragumo, using his voice as a beacon to aid Hyakimaru in his pursuit. Yet the battle took a toll on Dororo, and he was knocked unconscious by a powerful blow from the demon. Hyakimaru, filled with determination and concern for his friend, called out for Dororo, his voice echoing through the chaos. Miraculously, Dororo awakened, his spirit reignited by Hyakimaru's call. Together, Hyakimaru and Dororo unleashed their combined strength and resolve. They fought with unwavering determination, their every move guided by the knowledge that Saru's sister, believed to be lost, was still alive within the demon's belly. With each strike, they chipped away at the demon's defenses, refusing to relent until victory was within their grasp. And finally, in a climactic moment of triumph, Hyakimaru and Dororo emerged victorious. As the demon's monstrous form crumbled, they discovered the unimaginable. The sister, believed to be lost forever, had survived the ordeal. As Dororo's frail body succumbed to the toll of his deteriorating health, he crumpled to the ground, leaving Hyakimaru in a state of sheer panic. The sight of his loyal friend in such a vulnerable state ignited a fire within him, propelling him into a desperate search for aid. With a sense of urgency coursing through his veins, Hayakimaru pleaded with the people around him, hoping to find someone who would extend a helping hand. But to his dismay, his cries for assistance seemed to fall on deaf ears. The world around him appeared indifferent, as if shrouded in a veil of apathy and indifference. It was a moment of profound despair, where the weight of his own isolation bore down upon him. Just when all hope seemed lost, like a beacon of light cutting through the darkness, a nun emerged from the shadows. Her presence felt almost divine, as if she had been sent as an answer to their prayers. The compassion in her eyes mirrored the depth of her understanding, and she recognized the urgency of the situation. Without hesitation, the nun stepped forward, extending her hand in a gesture of unwavering support. In that moment, Hayakimaru felt a glimmer of hope rekindle within him. It was a testament to the power of human kindness and the impact that a single act of compassion can have in the face of adversity. Together, Hayakimaru and the nun embarked on a journey to find the aid that Dororo so desperately needed. Their path may be fraught with challenges and uncertainty, but their spirits remained resolute. In the midst of their shared struggle, a bond began to form, one that transcended words and spoke to the unbreakable connection forged through compassion and empathy. Without hesitation, she guided Hayakimaru and Dororo to a nearby temple, where they would receive the care and treatment they so desperately required. As they arrived at the temple, memories from Dororo's childhood flooded his mind. He remembered his parents, Ojiya and Hibukuro, who were part of a group of bandits. Their lives were filled with constant clashes with the samurai, their paths intertwining in a never-ending cycle of conflict. Amongst the bandits, Hibukuro held a position of authority as the second in command, while Itachi, a loyal member, found himself at odds with Hibukuro's leadership. Tensions reached a boiling point when Hibukuro threatened Itachi's life, a moment that etched itself into Dororo's memory. The weight of his parents' choices and the consequences they faced weighed heavily on his young shoulders. It was a reminder of the harsh realities of their world, where loyalty and betrayal danced hand in hand. But in the present moment, as Dororo lay unconscious, those memories took a back seat to the immediate concern for his well-being. The temple became a sanctuary, a place where healing and solace awaited, and in the care of the devoted nun, Hayakimaru held on to a glimmer of hope, knowing that they were in capable hands. Itachi betrays Hibukuro, taking his men, and cripples him. Dororo's family is left to raid dead bodies on the battlefields in search of supplies. Dororo witnesses a legs-less soldier, cannibalizing a dead one. Hibukuro is recognized by some samurai and is killed before the eyes of Ojiya and Dororo. They bury his body. They begin to starve. Hearing that the samurai are handing out food, they find that Itachi is doing well since his betrayal. When they begin to run out of food, Ojiya runs to the head of the line. She does not have a bowl, so she sticks out her hand. Ojiya burns her hands and gives Dororo some food. Unfortunately, she collapses from starvation and dies. It is revealed that Dororo is actually a girl, as the nun accidentally reveals this to Hayakimaru. I'm not sure why Dororo's gender matters other than typical sexism that must exist in this world. Regardless, we get to see that Daigo has learned that Hayakimaru is alive. As the story unfolds, the nun unveils a surprising revelation. Dororo is not the boy they initially believed, but rather a girl. This revelation adds an intriguing layer to the narrative, as it challenges the assumptions and expectations placed upon Dororo. With this newfound knowledge, the dynamics between the characters take an interesting turn. Daigo, who was once focused solely on his own ambitions and the sacrifices he made for power, finds himself at odds with Hayakimaru. As Hayakimaru regains his lost limbs, he inadvertently weakens Daigo's own power. The tables have turned, and the consequences of Daigo's actions come back to haunt him. Meanwhile, Tahomaru, Daigo's other son, finds himself caught in the midst of this brewing conflict. It appears predictable that Tahomaru may develop resentment towards his brother, fueled by his mother's lingering attachment to her first child. The desire for his father's approval may drive him to extreme measures, even attempting to harm or eliminate Hayakimaru. The situation at Palace Daigo sounds quite dire. With a drought plaguing the land and the people of Asakura gathering an army at the border, tension and uncertainty fill the air. In the midst of this turmoil, Daigo seeks solace in the Hall of Hell, just as he did before. However, this time, he notices a significant change. Many of the statues that once stood intact are now split in half, a clear indication that Hyakimaru has been busy slaying the demons and reclaiming his organs and senses. Seizing the opportunity, Tahomaru takes action. He commands his loyal bodyguards, Mutsu and Hyogo, to gather information about the mysterious baby that has caught his father's attention. It seems Tahomaru is determined to uncover the truth and perhaps use it to his advantage. Meanwhile, Daigo finds himself lost in deep contemplation. His thoughts are interrupted when Tahomaru confronts him about the baby he has been searching for. The anger within Daigo intensifies, and Tahomaru, sensing the tension, retreats to his peaceful spot. However, he is not alone for long, as his two devoted bodyguards, Mutsu and Hyogo, follow him. In this moment, we catch a glimpse of Tahomaru as a young child, a reminder of the complex relationships and history that shape these characters. The story continues to unravel with each passing moment, revealing more about the characters' motivations, desires, and the intricate connections between them. As we delve deeper into the narrative, we are granted glimpses of the characters' past, providing insight into their present actions and decisions. It is fascinating to witness how these seemingly small moments and encounters contribute to the larger tapestry of the story, keeping us captivated and eager to uncover what lies ahead for Palace Daigo and its inhabitants. His two bodyguards were always with him, and were the ones to look for him whenever he was sad while his parents were too busy with their issues. He was also quite an adorable child. As they are going back to Palace Daigo, Tahomaru and his bodyguards find out about Bakemonogatari. They try to defeat the demon, but it does not go too well, and they all retreat. Tajomaru is a little down, but then promptly cheers himself by proudly proclaiming that the land Daigo rules over used to be in a horrible condition, but his father had changed all that, and the land was now prosperous. He thinks of an incredibly clever plan, and it almost works. So, Tahomaru thought he had everything under control with his trap, but little did he know that Bakemonogatari had some tricks up its sleeve. It managed to break free from the trap, sending the situation spiraling into danger for everyone involved. Just when things were looking grim, out of nowhere, Hyakimaru swooped in like a hero in the nick of time. He put an end to Bakemonogatari, saving one of Tahomaru's bodyguards from becoming a snack. Talk about fate at work. Now Tahomaru is left scratching his head, wondering who the mysterious savior could be. As everyone retreats from the chaotic scene, the question lingers in the air, adding another layer of intrigue to the story. Meanwhile, Nuinokata, Tahomaru's mother, has been praying fervently to the headless goddess of mercy statue throughout this whole ordeal. But let's be real here, it might be a little too late for prayers. Her husband has gone and made a deal with demons, which is never a good sign, so all that praying might not work out as she had hoped. Things are really heating up in the world of Hyakimaru and Tahomaru. Finally, these two characters have a fateful encounter, and it all begins with an act of heroism. Hyakimaru saves one of Tahomaru's subordinates from certain death, showcasing his incredible skills and compassion. This unexpected turn of events sets the stage for a meeting that will surely have significant consequences. After the rescue, Hyakimaru receives his payment from Dororo, who has been a steadfast companion on this journey. In a moment of trust, Hyakimaru reveals the location of the land of Daigo to Dororo, highlighting the importance of their shared mission. It seems that their path is leading them closer to the heart of the matter, where the truth awaits. Meanwhile, Tahomaru, who has been steadily growing in curiosity and determination, learns Hyakimaru's name before they part ways. This newfound knowledge adds another layer of complexity to their relationship, as they are now connected on a more personal level. It is fascinating to witness how the dynamics between these characters continue to evolve and deepen as the story progresses. But that is not all. The old blind priest, a wise and enigmatic figure, also enters the scene with his own intentions. He plans to venture to the Hall of Hell, a place shrouded in mystery and secrets, in search of the truth. This pursuit of knowledge and understanding adds a sense of intrigue and anticipation to the unfolding events. As Dororo and Hyakimaru make their way to Fort Bannon, they stumble upon a chilling sight. The fort stands on the very grounds where a village destroyed by Daigo once thrived. A grim reminder of the past, they come across a wall adorned with the bodies of Asakura's enemies, pinned as a haunting display. This macabre sight serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of war and the complex dynamics between different factions. With each step, the story deepens, revealing more about the characters, their motivations, and the world they inhabit. The juxtaposition of heroism, discovery, and darkness creates a captivating narrative that keeps us on the edge of our seats, eagerly anticipating what lies ahead for Hyakimaru, Tahumaru, Dororo, and the rest of the cast. While there, they meet a survivor of the village, Sukeroku. He is hoping to reunite with his family. The problem is, he will be killed by the Asakura sentries waiting. Of course, Dororo and Hyakimaru are going to help him. Elsewhere, Tahumaru's bodyguards inform Daigo of Hyakimaru. He quickly realizes that his son survived. Predictably, he concludes that he must kill Hyakimaru in order to maintain his power and prosperity. Tahumaru overhears the conversation. He learns the truth from a demented woman that the demons ate everything. When it becomes night, a lot of nine-tailed foxes appear. Hyakimaru and Dororo fight them off long enough for Sukeroku to run away. Dororo chases after him only to find out that he has been captured by the Asakura. The Nine-Tails demon foxes are chased away by the arrows from Daigo's soldiers, leaving Hyakimaru to face his father. The potential conflict, or maybe I should say the inevitable conflict between Daigo and Hyakimaru, has finally started. He clearly wants to kill him, but I question if this is the moment he tries. He could attempt to gain the trust of Hyakimaru, then kill him, especially considering his fighting ability. The statue got another crack. However, it is doubtful that he has the patience. Hyakimaru's desire for vengeance wasn't pretty. The old priest Biwamaru noticed that his aura had changed and predicted that Hyakimaru had killed humans. It seems that killing humans has a more negative effect on one's aura regardless of how evil they might be. All of the characters who were previously on parallel paths confronted one another head-on with emotional repercussions. The result is a gut-wrenching midpoint that realizes the most painful truth of Hyakimaru's existence. His survival is seemingly at odds with everyone else's. Dororo serves as witness to the traumatic family reunion that ends the first half of this story with everything in pieces. At long last, Tahumaru has figured out what's going on. Within Daigo's domain, everyone enjoys prosperity. But beyond the Banmon Wall, as Dororo's captors tell us, Daigo's domain is considered the land of monsters. The plot thickens in this gripping tale of Tahumaru, Daigo, and Hyakimaru. As Tahumaru and his trusted aides heed his father's urging, they venture into the mysterious Hall of Hell. It is within these foreboding walls that the truth of Daigo's pact with the demons over his firstborn's body is unveiled. The darkness of this unholy agreement becomes clear, casting a shadow over the unfolding events. In a twist of fate, Hyakimaru, unaware of his true identity, stands face to face with his own father, Daigo. While Hyakimaru may not recognize him, Daigo recognizes his long-lost son. Filled with curiosity and perhaps a hint of remorse, Daigo questions why his half-born demon child managed to survive against all odds. This revelation deepens the mystery surrounding Hyakimaru's existence and the circumstances that led to his extraordinary abilities. Driven by his desire to protect his reign and silence the threat that Hyakimaru poses, Daigo orders his soldiers to unleash a barrage of arrows upon him. In a thrilling escape, Hyakimaru manages to evade the deadly rain of projectiles and disappears into the safety of the surrounding forest. However, the haunting words of Daigo linger in his mind, leaving an indelible mark on his journey. Meanwhile, Dororo and Sukeroku find themselves captured by soldiers, their freedom snatched away. In the confines of their jail cell, Sukeroku reveals a shocking truth to Dororo. The entire village was destroyed, leaving behind nothing but devastation and sorrow. This revelation further deepens the sense of tragedy and raises questions about the motivations behind such destruction. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerges as Dororo spots a small hole in their prison cell. Determined to regain their freedom, Dororo's resolve strengthens, and they decide to make their daring escape through this narrow passage. The tension builds as we wonder whether they will succeed in their bid for freedom and what lies beyond that small hole. As the battle rages on, Hyakimaru and Tahumaru find themselves locked in a fierce struggle, their swords clashing with a resounding echo. Each strike is filled with determination and a desire to prove themselves. The air crackles with tension as their skills and resolve are put to the ultimate test. Amidst the chaos, Tahumaru finally confronts his mother. his voice trembling with a mix of anger and confusion. He demands answers, seeking to understand why his parents made the choices they did. His mother, her voice filled with a mixture of regret and longing, confesses that she has never forgotten her first child, revealing a deep pain that has haunted her for years. But the revelations don't stop there. Diago, Tahomaru's father, steps forward, his voice steady and filled with conviction. He explains the reasons behind his actions, believing that he needed to make sacrifices for the greater good of the people. It is a complex situation, and Tahomaru is left grappling with conflicting emotions. He can't help but feel betrayed by his parents, questioning their motives and their seemingly selfish behavior. In the midst of this emotional turmoil, Hyakkimaru appears, his presence commanding attention. As he lays eyes upon his family, a profound realization washes over him. He can sense the pure aura emanating from his brother and mother, a reminder of the love and connection they once shared. However, Diago's aura has been tainted, a reflection of the darkness that has consumed his heart. But there's no time for reconciliation or reflection, as Diago, unwilling to back down, orders his men to attack Hyakkimaru. The clash of swords echoes through the air, punctuated by the cries of battle. Just when it seems like all hope is lost, Tahomaru interjects, his voice filled with determination. In a pivotal moment, his father poses a question, challenging Tahomaru to consider the sacrifices that must be made for the land they call home. Oku stabs herself. The Diago argument seems to work for now. Dororo arrives and tells Hyakkimaru that Tsukuroku is in danger. A jailer informs Tsukuroku and the other prisoners that they are going to be killed. War becomes a bigger threat. Tahomaru and his handlers arrive at the temple. The Asakura kill the hostages and the war begins. On the battlefield, all the principal characters arrive. Dororo, Hyakkimaru, Diago, and Tahomaru are all present. Tahomaru begrudgingly accepts his father's decision and calls Hyakkimaru a demon. The statue green aura dissipates. As they fight, Diago seems pleased. Meanwhile, Dororo tries to save Tsukuroku. They are saved by Hyakkimaru, who separates himself from Tahomaru when he breaks his sword and cuts his eye. Oku, Hyakkimaru's mother, arrives to ask for forgiveness. She proclaims that she cannot save him and sacrifices herself by stabbing herself. Ironically, as Hyakkimaru loses his mother, Tsukuroku is reunited with him. The epic journey of Hyakkimaru continues as he ventures forth from the land of Daigo, fueled by an unwavering determination to slay every last demon in his path. His resolve knows no bounds as he seeks to reclaim what was unjustly taken from him. But amidst all the chaos and battles, it seems that Hyakkimaru has lost sight of the simple joys that life has to offer. You know, the little things like taking a relaxing dip in an onsen. Luckily, his clever and resourceful companion, Dororo, knows just how to pique his interest and convince him to take a break. Knowing full well that Hyakkimaru's mission to eradicate demons is his top priority, Dororo plays her cards wisely. She understands that mentioning the presence of a demon lurking near the onsen will instantly grab his attention. After all, what better way to entice a demon slayer than the promise of a potential battle? With a mischievous glint in her eye, Dororo skillfully plants the idea in Hyakkimaru's mind, knowing that his curiosity and sense of duty will surely lead him to investigate. It is a clever tactic, appealing to his warrior instincts while also offering a much-needed respite from the relentless pursuit of his quest. After all, Hyakkimaru's unwavering commitment to his cause makes him ever vigilant for any demonic threat. With this knowledge, Dororo skillfully persuades him to visit the onsen, using her wit and understanding of his motivations. Meanwhile, in Daigo's land, a much-needed rain finally falls, bringing relief to the parched earth. The land, once barren, begins to rejuvenate and flourish under the nourishing touch of the raindrops. This turn of events brings a glimmer of hope to the people, as they witness the power of nature's healing touch. In the midst of this, Hyakkimaru's mother, who had previously attempted suicide, finds herself still clinging to life. Her failed attempt leaves her in a state of uncertainty and reflection. Perhaps there is a deeper meaning to her survival, a chance for redemption or a path towards reconciliation. However, it seems that fate has dealt a harsh blow to Tahomaru, as he now finds himself blind in his right eye. This unexpected turn of events adds another layer of complexity to the already intricate web of relationships and conflicts within the story. Tahomaru, once a formidable presence, now faces a new challenge, one that will test his resilience and force him to adapt. And there we have it, a glimpse into the ever-evolving world of Hyakimaru and Dororo. As their journey continues, one can only wonder what further trials and revelations await them. Will Hyakimaru find solace in the onsen? Can Dororo's cleverness and companionship bring a sense of balance to his life? And how will Tahomaru's newfound blindness affect his role in the unfolding narrative? We then see a woman dragging a man behind a waterfall. Said man then loses his face as a really big statue cuts it right off. A crazy woman helped a demon slice off a man's face. The statue then tries to take on the man's face but fails, and it seems that the woman is looking for the right face. Unfortunately, Hyakimaru and Dororo cross paths with her. Her name is Okaka, and Dororo is a little emotional at first because she looked so much like her mother. She drags Okaka with her to Hyakimaru to confirm if she is a ghoul or not, but he tells her that he is unable to tell. Okaka tells Hyakimaru and Dororo about the statue and how a forgotten carver wanted to make a fearsome statue during the war but couldn't and died before ever finishing it. Dororo starts calling Okaka Oka-chan, explaining that it is easier than Okaka-chan. Okaka drugs Dororo and Hyakimaru, then continues the story about the statue and the carver. Apparently, after the carver died, a vengeful spirit had made its home in the statue and wanted a face too. So it did the most logical thing and revived the carver to bring it faces so the statue would be complete. Okaka is that carver. Dororo's face is that of a child's, so she drags off Hyakimaru instead. Dororo's heartfelt pleas seem to have had a profound effect on Okaka. In a moment of weakness, Okaka suffers a strike from the statue's blade, creating an opening for Hyakimaru to retaliate and ultimately defeat the spirit. It is amazing how their teamwork paid off. After the battle, Okaka shrivels up and disintegrates, leaving behind only her hair and clothes. It must have been a powerful and intense encounter, but the story does not end there. Dororo and Hyakimaru continue their journey and make their way to an onsen. There, they meet Biwahoshi and two children, and they discover that a map has appeared on Dororo's back. So the map on Dororo's back is actually a crucial piece of a larger puzzle. It seems that her father had hidden away money for the rebellion, and the other half of the map resides on her mother's back. It is like a treasure hunt, but with a deeper purpose. There might be some discord between Dororo and Hyakimaru. Dororo finds herself at a crossroads, unsure of what to do now that she possesses this valuable map. On one hand, she wants to honor her father's intentions and help the rebellion. But on the other hand, she also wants to support Hyakimaru in his quest to slay demons. It is understandable that Hyakimaru's obsession with killing demons might be a little concerning. While it is his sole focus, it is important for him to remember the bonds he has formed along the way, including his friendship with Dororo. Perhaps a balance can be struck, where they can work together to not only defeat demons but also pursue the truth behind the map and support the rebellion. In any case, it is a complex situation that requires careful consideration and open communication between Dororo and Hyakimaru. The duo meet a childlike monster in the woods who gets quite attached to Dororo. As they all make their way through the forest, they come across a burnt-down temple. Dororo tries to break free of the monster while Hyakimaru takes a look around and finds oil, suggesting that the temple may have burnt down. A man arrives with flowers and offers them at the temple. He introduces himself as Sabame, the lord of the land, and invites Dororo and Hyakimaru to stay over, as it is dangerous at night. The man is a bit eerie, and Hyakimaru sees demon red in his soul. So the dynamic duo finally arrives at Sabame's place, ready to indulge in some delicious food and immerse themselves in the enchanting world of an ancient dance form. The atmosphere is lively, filled with laughter and joy as they savor the moment. But as fate would have it, the tranquility is shattered when Dororo casually mentions the existence of a childlike monster. The room falls silent, and all eyes turn to Sabame, who seems taken aback by the unexpected revelation. In a hushed tone, Sabame begins to unfold a haunting tale of a dark past. He reveals that the temple once housed a nun who purportedly took in orphans from nearby villages. However, instead of providing them with care and love, she subjected them to harsh labor and eventually sold them off. It is a heartbreaking revelation, painting a grim picture of the temple's history. But there's more to the story. Sabame reveals that one fateful day, the temple was struck by lightning, engulfing it in flames. Tragically, the children, along with the nun, perished in the fire. It is a tale of sorrow and loss, leaving Dororo and Hyakimaru questioning the veracity of the entire narrative. With a sense of skepticism, they decide to stay put and observe, determined to uncover the truth that lies beneath the surface. There's an air of anticipation as they wait, eager to see what unfolds and whether the mysteries surrounding the temple and its history will be unraveled. And so, my friend, the stage is set for a suspenseful and thought-provoking chapter in their journey. Will they discover the hidden secrets of the temple, or will the childlike monster reveal itself, shedding light on the truth? Only time will tell as Dororo and Hyakimaru navigate the treacherous path that lies before them. So while Dororo and Hyakimaru were peacefully sleeping, they were suddenly attacked by a monstrous caterpillar. But fear not, Hyakimaru showed his strength and managed to fend off the creature. However, in its distress, the caterpillar called out for help, and surprisingly, a moth came to its rescue. Now, as Dororo and Hyakimaru regroup and plan their next move, the moth reveals a surprising ability. It can transform into a lady. This moth lady sets off on her own journey, heading towards Sabame. It seems that she and Sabame have a quiet, friendly relationship, and she even seems to have some knowledge about Hyakimaru. When the moth lady arrives, Sabame declares that he will protect her and the children from any harm. But here's where things get a little eerie. When the woman smiles, we catch a glimpse of her razor-sharp teeth. It is a chilling sight, hinting at a hidden darkness beneath her seemingly gentle appearance. It is quite a twisted turn of events indeed. As it turns out, the entire village is aware of the monsters that lurk in the darkness of the night. It seems they have made a dark pact to ensure their prosperity. Just like Daigo's village, Sabame's village thrives because of a sacrificial ritual involving the nun and the innocent children. The villagers' willingness to offer the children to the demons has granted them the ability to produce an abundant rice harvest. However, there's something even more unsettling. That weird demon baby we encountered earlier. It is actually a collection of the spirits of the sacrificed children. Their souls have been twisted and merged into this monstrous entity. But as always, Hyakimaru remains driven by his relentless quest to slay demons. He is determined to confront and defeat the moth demon, even if it means potentially bringing harm to the village. His unwavering determination to reclaim his body and seek justice for the innocent souls lost outweighs any potential negative consequences for the village. It is a morally complex situation, where the lines between right and wrong become blurred. When Dororo goes exploring for clues, the villagers lock her in a rice storeroom with the moth larvae, but she is saved by the baby monster. The monster bursts open and the spirits of the children who were involved in the temple fire come out. They guide Dororo out of the storeroom and they also tell her the truth behind the fire. Sabame had killed the nun and the villagers had set fire to the temple so that they could feed the children to Maimaeonba, the moth monster lady. Dororo also sets fire to the storeroom, effectively destroying the larvae in the rice. This causes the villagers to fight amongst themselves and peace in the village crumbles. Meanwhile, Hyakimaru finds out that some had taken Maimaeonba as his wife in order to protect the village from samurais and famine. Newly emerged moths then attack Hyakimaru, and he fights back aggressively. The last moth manages to injure Hyakimaru and then makes its way to the village. Hyakimaru manages to find Maimaeonba in the middle of a huge body of water and kills her, getting his spine back in return. As Dororo and Hyakimaru continue their journey, they find themselves in a village that was once ravaged by the tragic fire, claiming the lives of many, including Sabame. The remnants of the devastation serve as a somber reminder of the past, casting a shadow over their hearts. Doubt begins to creep into Dororo's mind as she questions whether their actions have been righteous or not. She wonders if they have truly made the right choices along their path. However, Hyakimaru remains resolute in his mission to slay demons and reclaim his stolen body. His unwavering determination blinds him to any doubts or concerns, as he believes that this is the only way to regain his humanity. Unbeknownst to Hyakimaru, Dororo decides to venture off on her own, hoping that some time apart will allow him to find a moment of clarity and reconnect with his humanity. She understands the importance of balancing their quest for vengeance with the preservation of their own humanity. Walking a different path from Hyakimaru, Dororo finds herself grumbling to herself, expressing her frustration that her Aniki should listen to her advice once in a while. Amidst her musings, she unexpectedly encounters Itachi, who has managed to acquire the half of the map that was once on Dororo's mother's back. Itachi has been diligently searching for Dororo to reunite the missing pieces of the map. The encounter with Itachi brings a glimmer of hope and intrigue to Dororo's journey. Itachi's quest to find the other half of the map aligns with Dororo's own desire to uncover the truth about her past. It is a fortuitous meeting that holds the promise of unlocking long-held secrets and shedding light on the mysterious connection between Dororo's mother and the map. With anticipation and curiosity swirling in the air, Dororo and Itachi stand at the precipice of a new chapter in their intertwined destinies. Together they embark on a shared quest, driven by the desire to uncover the truth and find their respective places in this intricate web of fate. Hyakimaru does not arrive conveniently to save Dororo from Itachi. In fact, she is dragged off by Itachi despite showing him that her back had no map for it. As for how Itachi got the map from a dead woman's back, well, he dug her up for her grave. Itachi, Dororo, and Itachi's crew arrive at some place where they are supposed to cross the sea in order to reach Cape Hakkotsu. The group then make their way to the village to try and get some boats, but it is in shambles and there's evidence of violence which leads everyone to think that the culprits are probably brigands. So this young boy named Shiranui offers to help our heroes by providing them a ride in his boats pulled by sharks. That is definitely not your everyday mode of transportation. Things take a dark turn. It turns out that Shiranui is not quite what he seems. You see, it is revealed that Shiranui is the one responsible for the attacks on the villagers. He fed them to the sharks, Jiromaru and Saburomaru, and get this, he even sacrificed his own arm to the sharks so they wouldn't go hungry. That is some intense dedication, but also quite deranged. Itachi's men must be in for a surprise when they realize the true nature of their companion. It is always fascinating when characters reveal unexpected layers, even if they lean towards the more intense side. Shiranui's actions definitely add a new level of complexity to the story and raise questions about his motives and sanity. Now, our heroes must navigate this unsettling situation and decide how to handle Shiranui's involvement in their journey. So one boat is down and one is left with Itachi, Dororo, and a few more of Itachi's men on it. Shiranui then leaves on Jiromaru with Saburomaru acting as guard. Itachi theme recalls his sad tale about how his lord left him to die. Itachi's men then start losing hope only to be told off by Dororo, who jumps into the sea to lure out Saburomaru so the men can kill it with their katanas. They somehow manage to paddle their way to their original destination and beat up Shiranui when he comes to investigate what had happened to Jiromaru. Despite Dororo being the one who played a crucial role in keeping them all safe, Itachi seems to be fixated on the issue of the map. He goes to extreme measures and strips Dororo, only to discover that she is actually a girl. Quite a surprising revelation. But here's where things get even more intense. The heat from the fire unintentionally reveals the hidden map on Dororo's back. With the full map in his possession and Dororo tied to a tree, Itachi sees an opportunity to claim all the wealth that Dororo's father left her for himself. It is a treacherous turn of events as Itachi's greed takes center stage. Meanwhile, in the midst of all this chaos, Hyakimaru is desperately searching for Dororo. Luckily, a passerby comes to his aid and informs him about Jukai. It seems like Jukai might hold some crucial information or be able to assist Hyakimaru in his quest. It is a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. The day begins with Jukai tirelessly attempting to attach missing limbs to the deceased, hoping to bring them some semblance of wholeness. However, his efforts prove futile as the task seems insurmountable. Just as despair starts to settle in, a ghoul emerges, threatening Jukai's safety. But fear not, for Hyakimaru arrives just in the nick of time, his presence a beacon of hope. With swift and calculated movements, he protects Jukai from the looming danger, showcasing his newfound strength and determination. In that moment, Jukai's heart swells with nostalgia as he gazes upon Hyakimaru. Memories of their time living together come flooding back, reminding him of the bond they once shared. Overwhelmed by emotion, Jukai approaches Hyakimaru, gently cradling his face, marveling at the transformation he has undergone. He remarks on how terrifyingly powerful Hyakimaru has become. In response, Hyakimaru offers a gentle smile, his eyes reflecting a depth of understanding and compassion. A tender moment passes between them as they nuzzle each other, a display of affection that warms the heart. It is heartwarming how they manage to meet each other again and spend some time with each other. This made one realize that Jukai may have been the only person to show Hyakimaru any affection, so their little interaction at the beginning really packs a punch and highlights just how unfair Hyakimaru's entire life has been. Jukai notices all the differences in Hyakimaru. His skin, he can smile, he is able to feel pain and cold, and he is able to talk and hear. Hyakimaru also tells Jukai about Daigo and the demons and that he needs a new leg in order to continue fighting. Though horrified at what his father has done to him, Jukai refuses. He states his doubt about whether he did the right thing by raising Hyakimaru, and that if he gives Hyakimaru a new leg, and therefore enables him to fight again, Hyakimaru might push himself further away from being human, even though he will look more human than before. Jukai even goes as far as to damage the spare leg he has to prevent himself from giving a new leg to Hyakimaru. Just when things couldn't get any more intense, a landslide blocks the entrance to Jukai's cave, trapping them inside. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. While they are trying to dig their way out, Jukai takes the opportunity to ask Hyakimaru why he is so determined to regain his body, and Hyakimaru's answer is refreshingly simple and straightforward. He wants his body back because, well, it is his. It is as simple as that. Hyakimaru does not need some complex or righteous reason to justify his quest. The core of the matter is that his body was taken from him without his consent, and he has every right to reclaim it. It is a matter of personal ownership and autonomy. The morality of sacrificing an entire domain may come into question, but that is a problem for Daigo and the domain to grapple with. Hyakimaru never asked to have his body taken away, nor did he volunteer to bear the weight of an entire domain's fate on his shoulders. It is a powerful statement about self-determination and the right to control one's own body. Hyakimaru's journey is not just about physical restoration, but also about reclaiming his agency and identity. It is a struggle that resonates with many, as we all have a fundamental desire to be in control of our own lives. Once out of the cave, Jukai and Hyakimaru notice that the fruit from a tree called Ayakashi produces ghouls. Hyakimaru strikes down all the ghouls and stabs the heart of the tree to end the entire fiasco. Jukai then sends Hyakimaru on his way. Not sure if he is given a leg or not, though. Hyakimaru tries asking for Jukai's name before leaving, but Jukai responds that it is not something he needs to know. Hyakimaru tells Jukai that he is aware that Jukai is his Oka-chan, leaving Jukai touched and teary. The tension builds as Hyakimaru finally reaches the cape where Dororo is being held captive. But alas, his arrival is met with a multitude of adversaries. Itachi and his brigands, along with the formidable demon shark Jiromaru, still linger in the shadows. As if that wasn't enough, Tahumaru himself emerges, accompanied by his own fleet of loyal followers. Itachi and his brigands have set their sights on the hidden treasure that Dororo's father had concealed on the cape. It is their greed that led to Dororo's unfortunate capture, drawing Hyakimaru to this perilous place. And in a twist of fate, Hyakimaru's presence attracts the attention of Tahumaru, who arrives with his own forces. The convergence of these conflicting forces sets the stage for an intense showdown. Hyakimaru, driven by his love for Dororo and his quest for redemption, stands against the odds, ready to face these formidable foes. As the battle ensues, the fate of Dororo and the hidden treasure hangs in the balance, with each decision and action shaping the course of their intertwined destinies. Meanwhile, although Jiromaru and Shiranui were already living by the cape, they are now more invested than ever due to the loss of Saburomaru at the hands of Itachi's soldiers. Also, since Jiromaru is a demon, Hyakimaru has a bone to pick with it too. Since Itachi's brigands are both criminals and deserters from Daigo's military, Tahumaru needs to bring them to justice as well. So basically everyone who meets up at this cape is trying to kill everyone else. With the death of Saburomaru, Jiromaru goes into a frenzy, partially incited by Shiranui. He somehow drags himself onto dry land and begins eating his fallen brother, becoming more demonic as he does so. In the end, Jiromaru is a pale white, has spikes, and his fins have turned into limb-like appendages used for crawling. Unfortunately, even with the power it gained from eating Saburomaru, Jiromaru was still no match for Hyakimaru. And after defeating the demon shark, Hyakimaru regained his leg that was missing, meaning he now has two real legs. The only external body parts he is missing are his arms and eyes. But now that both Saburomaru and Jiromaru are dead, Shiranui does not have a dog or shark in this fight. While standing next to Jiromaru's body, he mentions something about bringing them some gifts for when he sees them next. While this probably would have made for a much more interesting demon battle, it sadly didn't happen, and instead, Shiranui blows himself up with some explosives he found, attempting to take out as many enemies with him as possible. I don't think he killed anyone with that final plan. Although killing Hyakimaru is the main objective, Tahumaru makes it clear to his men that everyone on the Cape is considered an enemy to Daigo's land and should be killed. Although I'm not entirely sure if they would have killed Dororo given the chance since she is a child. Upon landing on the Cape, the majority of Tahumaru's soldiers focus on Itachi and the brigands, while Tahumaru and his 2 guards focus on bringing down Hyakimaru. One great thing about it was that it wasn't merely a one-on-one duel between Hyakimaru and Tahumaru. Tahumaru is serious about defeating Hyakimaru, and so he is going to use everything at his disposal to do so, including manpower. Tahumaru uses his sword, the larger man uses a giant, blunt weapon of some sort, and the woman uses a bow, but even their combined might is not enough to bring Hyakimaru down. He just has too much battle experience from fighting demons. In the end, Tahumaru and his men retreat after they suffer severe casualties, and Shiranui begins blowing up the Cape along with himself. Throughout the whole battle, Itachi was focused on just one thing: finding the treasure. Surprisingly, he even cared more about finding the treasure than protecting his own life. I really expected him to flee from the battle, but instead he wanted to find the treasure before Daigo's men. Even when he was being wounded by arrows, all he could think about was making it to the treasure so that he will be able to use it to live somewhere in peace. He no longer wants power or fame, he just wants to live a comfortable life somewhere without demons or war. He does eventually find the treasure he was looking for, but only after being shot full of arrows and caught in Shiranui's blast. At the end of the war, before heading off from the Cape, Dororo decides that she is not going to take her father's treasure just yet. However, she does snag a few coins to help Hyakimaru and herself out on their travels. The duo arrive at a village looking for a blacksmith, Munetsuna, to fix Hyakimaru's broken swords. Hyakimaru was with the horse, and watching him rub his forehead against everyone is so entertaining. Over the years of fighting both ghouls and other humans, Hyakimaru's swords have become too badly damaged to use. Specifically, in his last fight with Tahumaru, one of his swords was snapped in half. Due to this, he is in need of a blacksmith, and there have been rumors of one who's a master at his craft. When Hyakimaru and Dororo arrive at the village where the blacksmith resides, they are bombarded with negative comments from the villagers. They even went as far as calling the blacksmith's daughter, Okawa, ugly, but it turns out the villagers were all lying. When Okawa opens the door, she proves them all wrong. She is not ugly at all, and to make things even more interesting, it seems like the townspeople have a habit of lying for some strange reason. Poor Okawa has grown accustomed to it. Now here's where things get really interesting. Hyakimaru touches Okawa's forehead and she gets flustered, but within the same day she asks him to marry her. It seems like Okawa has been longing for someone genuine, someone who sees her for who she truly is. And in Hyakimaru, she may have found that person. As for her father, he is almost like her opposite. They are both extremely proud of the swords he makes, but he is much more serious than Okawa is. He does not seem to care what other people say about him as long as he is able to continue making a living from his work, and he does not talk all that much. However, the one thing he does mention about himself is that although he is a blacksmith who will make weapons, he does not like his weapons to be used for killing. He knows that is what they will be used for, but his dream is to one day make a weapon so deadly that it stops the enemy from even trying to fight. That ghoul sounds like a tricky one. Hyakimaru and Dororo had to team up with Okawa's father to defeat it. Surprisingly, Hyakimaru wasn't much help in this battle. This ghoul had a unique power. It didn't pose a physical threat, but it had a mischievous ability. The ghoul cast a spell on the villagers, making them say the opposite of what they actually meant. That is why they kept saying Okawa was ugly and her father was a bad blacksmith, even though it wasn't true at all. Thankfully, with the help of Dororo and Okawa's father, they were able to defeat the ghoul and break free from its spell. The reason Okawa and her father weren't affected by the ghoul's curse was due to the blacksmith deities they prayed to. And since their home is decorated with masks of these deities, anyone inside it is able to speak freely despite being cursed otherwise. This is why Dororo is not affected by the curse until after she takes off the deity mask which she was wearing when Hyakimaru was cursed. And due to his curse, Hyakimaru ends up agreeing to marry Okawa despite not actually wanting to, though he definitely should have. In the beginning of the day, this change in his heart is signified by him giving Dororo food and asking her to tell him more of her stories. Before this point, while he may have cared for Dororo, he never showed any real interest in her life before they met, or her thoughts on the world. We are made to believe that Hyakimaru is becoming more human, but physically, this is not actually the case. The Diago villages begin to suffer from what Tahomaru believes is the result of demons being upset that Hyakimaru is alive. Diago realizes that his deal with the demons must have been revoked, and the prosperity he received is now over. Hyakimaru and Dororo meet Saburota, who is hunting a demon that ate his mother. A massive Nue appears, but when Hyakimaru tries to fight it, he is interrupted by Saburota. He claims that he now likes to feed travelers to the demon. This is yet another human that has sided with demons. Dodging the demon, both Hyakimaru and Dororo fall off the cliff. Dororo gets her arm stuck and Hyakimaru struggles to free her. Water begins to rise, almost drowning Dororo. Hyakimaru panics and begins to smash his head against the rocks. Biwa Hoshi arrives and swiftly saves Dororo, breaking his sword in the process. That sounds intense. The whole situation with Dororo and the Nue seems like a real struggle. Dororo's prosthetic arms are holding him back from saving himself, which must be incredibly frustrating. Dororo does not give up. He is determined to find Saburota and Nue, and he ends up facing off against the Nue in a desperate battle. Hyakimaru joins in too, and let me tell you, he dominates the fight. He cuts Nue's head right in half. Talk about a powerful move. But here's where things take a dark turn. Nue ends up eating Saburota. It is like the Nue turned against its own partner. And speaking of Saburota, he is a Ronin samurai who works alongside the Nue. He has got a pretty messed up past too. When he and his mother were attacked by the Nue, he left her to die. Now he lures other travelers to their doom. And get this, just like Shiranui feeds a part of himself to his sharks, Saburota eventually sacrifices himself to make the Nue even stronger. It is like a twisted cycle of feeding and power. After their first encounter with the Nue, when they are initially betrayed by Saburota, Hyakimaru and Dororo are knocked off a cliff in a rock slide. Upon awakening, they find that Dororo's left arm is caught under some of the boulders, and due to not having real arms, Hyakimaru is unable to free her. However, it was obvious that Hyakimaru wasn't just going to leave Dororo to die the way Obito was left by his comrades. That said, Dororo was about to have her arm cut off by Hyakimaru in a desperate attempt to free her. You see, not only was she stuck, but there was rising water, meaning if she wasn't rescued quickly, she would drown. But for some reason, Hyakimaru never seems to even consider cutting off Dororo's arm, even when she is completely submerged underwater, and he still hasn't moved the boulder a single inch. Instead, Biwamaru shows up just in the nick of time and pries the boulder off Dororo's arm with his own sword. He appears to rescue or give information to Hyakimaru and Dororo whenever they need it most. Hyakimaru kills the Nue after it consumes Saburota. We don't actually get to see this portion of the fight, but we do see the aftermath. Dororo finds pieces of the Nue scattered around the forest, and eventually Hyakimaru with his blade through Saburota's chest. Saburota then says that he now sees Hyakimaru as not actually a human, and we see a red patch of Hyakimaru's soul where his heart should be. Not only is this significant because it implies Hyakimaru's soul has been tainted, one of the demons featured in the Hall of Hell, presumably the main demon, has recently started giving off the faint sounds of a heartbeat. It is possible, though it is also possible that Hyakimaru's soul has begun to turn red due to his obsession with reclaiming his body, and the heartbeat in the demon statue beginning around the same time is just a coincidence. Hyakimaru does not win back a part of his body. Just as was the case when he defeated the nine-tailed fox demon, Hyakimaru once again fails to reclaim a lost part of his body after defeating the Nui demon. Instead, we are shown that the main heartbeat demon statue in the Hall of Hell appears to gain more power when the statue next to it cracks. This is due to having Hyakimaru's heart. This demon is now receiving the body parts Hyakimaru should have been reclaiming. So at this point, the main demon should have 3 of Hyakimaru's body parts, and there are 4 left for him to reclaim in total. 2 arms, his eyes, and his heart. Things are really heating up in Daigo's territory. Yakimaru's determination to reclaim his body has reached a whole new level, and it is leaving Dororo feeling pretty down. Seeing someone become so single-minded can be tough, especially when you care about them. But the situation does not stop there. A curious villager notices Hyakimaru and Dororo, and without wasting any time, they inform Daigo about their presence. It seems like word travels fast in these parts, and unfortunately, the consequences of their actions start to unfold. The villagers, already burdened by illness, are now facing a horrifying fate. They are being burned alive, adding to the growing sense of despair in the territory. It is a truly tragic turn of events, and it is hard to imagine the fear and anguish that must be gripping the villagers. As if that wasn't enough, the young men in the village are being forcibly recruited into the army. It is a grim reality they have to face, being torn away from their families and forced into a life of conflict. And it does not stop there. Even the horses, including a nursing horse named Midoro, are being requisitioned. It is a harsh reminder of how dire the situation has become. Meanwhile, Tahomaru, along with Mutsu and Hyogo, decides to take matters into their own hands. They form a determined trio, setting out on a mission to find and eliminate Hyakimaru. It is a dangerous game they are playing, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The tension is rising, and the consequences of Hyakimaru's quest are becoming more apparent. It is a complex web of emotions and actions, where the line between right and wrong becomes blurred. Dororo and Hyakimaru find themselves surrounded by a haunting sight, a ravine filled with lifeless bodies. It is a chilling reminder of the violence and tragedy that has befallen this land, but the tension escalates even further when Tahomaru and his men launch an attack on Hyakimaru. Dororo, ever the compassionate soul, pleads with Hyakimaru not to engage in combat with his own brother. It is a heartbreaking moment seeing the conflict between family and the desire for revenge. Despite the odds stacked against him, Hyakimaru refuses to back down. He takes on all 3 opponents, displaying incredible skill and determination. In a shocking turn of events, he manages to sever Natsu's arm, a testament to his formidable abilities. But amidst the chaos, Dororo can't help but shed tears, witnessing the intense battle between the 2 brothers. However, before the fight can reach its conclusion, the clash is abruptly interrupted by Kagemitsu's men. The leader, riding atop Midoro, takes a sinister course of action. He sends the horse charging towards Hyakimaru, causing a devastating collision. To make matters worse, he ruthlessly detonates an explosion, taking the life of the noble steed. It is a heart-wrenching moment as the horse that once nurtured life becomes a casualty of this cruel conflict. The impact sends Hyakimaru tumbling into the depths of the ravine, leaving his fate uncertain. Meanwhile, Dororo finds themselves captured, adding another layer of despair to the already dire situation. It is a cliffhanger moment, leaving us on the edge of our seats wondering what will happen next. But just when it seems all hope is lost, Hyakimaru miraculously survives the fall. However, the horse's tragic demise takes an unexpected twist. It becomes possessed by a malevolent demon, transforming into a fiery, otherworldly creature. The sight of this demonic, flaming horse adds a chilling element to the already intense atmosphere. With Dororo captured and Hyakimaru facing new challenges, the stakes have never been higher. One weird thing that happened is when Hyakimaru looks at his brother, Mutsu and Hyogo, their spirits are pure white. They are trying to kill Hyakimaru, but for the good of the people in the territory. That intent is important in determining what's in someone's heart, while Dororo seems to be on the side of Tajomaru when he keeps trying to kill Hyakimaru. Granted, Dororo is a child, so maybe she is immature. However, this has set Hyakimaru to be the accidental villain, It is finally confirmed that Mutsu is in fact a woman, and she is the sister of Hyogo. Lady Nui is the wife of Lord Daigo and mother of both Hyakimaru and Tahumaru. She is the one who prayed to the goddess of protection to save her child, but later on she threw Hyakimaru away to the demons in order to protect the people of Daigo's land. However, it seems that Lady Nui has once again swapped sides, or at least to an extent. She claims to not regret choosing her land and people over her own son, but at the same time she wants Hyakimaru to have a happy life. To this end, she frees Dororo from captivity so that she can return to Hyakimaru's side. But Nui does not stop there. In the end, she also chooses to flee with Dororo and meet up with Hyakimaru, even though he may decide to kill her. As she sees it, if he decides to kill her, then it is what she deserves. But if not, then I guess she just hopes that he will accept her apology. At the very least, she is actually helping to take care of the wounded and displaced civilians who she and Dororo are rescued by when their boat capsizes. This shows that even if she does intend to kill Hyakimaru, she cares about the people who live beneath her, and it would be for their benefit, not her own. But the real point is that Hyakimaru is becoming a demon himself. Not only has he now paired up with a demon horse, but he has also turned into a mindless killing machine. Yes, it is possible that Asakura got in his way while he was going to save Dororo from Daigo's men. The Asakura would probably love for Hyakimaru and the demon horse to be on their side against Daigo, but he slaughters them all instead. The 12th and final demon makes its appearance, adding another layer of intensity to the already fierce battle. During the clash with Hyakimaru, Tahumaru, Hyogo, and Mutsu all suffer new injuries. Tahumaru receives a deep gash on his forehead, right above his eye. It is a visible mark of the brutal confrontation. And that is not all. Both Hyogo and Mutsu endure the loss of one of their arms, leaving them physically wounded and vulnerable. But amidst the chaos and pain, a heartbreaking revelation is unveiled. Mutsu, already burdened by a plague, knows that her time is running out. She realizes that she won't be able to protect Tahumaru and support his dreams for much longer. Filled with desperation, she takes a daring step and seeks out the Hall of Hell. In a desperate attempt to preserve the pact between the 12th demon and Daigo, Mutsu tries to make a pact of her own. It is a risky move, driven by her love for Tahumaru and her desire to secure his future. The Hall of Hell becomes the setting for this pivotal moment, where Mutsu's fate intertwined with the demonic forces at play. The stakes have never been higher for our characters, as they face not only physical battles, but also the internal struggles of sacrifice, loyalty, and the lengths one would go to protect those they hold dear. Unfortunately for Mutsu, the only way this pact can be preserved is with the body of Hyakimaru. If all the body parts he reclaimed are returned to the demon, then the pact will be reforged. The only problem is that Tahumaru, Hyogo, and Mutsu were no match for Hyakimaru before, and now they are even more injured. To remedy this disparity in their combat levels, the demon grants the trio a bit of his power in the form of the body parts it stole from Hyakimaru. Hyogo and Mutsu each receive one of Hyakimaru's arms to replace their own, and Tahumaru receives Hyakimaru's eyes. One of Hyakimaru's eyes replaces the one Tahumaru lost in battle against him, and the other one appears within the gash on his forehead. This means that Hyakimaru should only have to kill these three to regain these body parts, and not the final demon. But one can also assume that the final demon is still in possession of Hyakimaru's heart, and will therefore have to be defeated in the end. However, there's one more thing I want to mention about Tarumaru, and that is the purple mark under his left eye. It seems that the demon didn't just give Tarumaru Hyakimaru's eyes as he gave Hyogo and Mutsu his arms. Instead, the demon is either possessing Tahumaru or has given him even more of his power. As the villagers prepare for war, Hyakimaru fights Tajomaru, Hyogo, and Mutsu. Oku and Dororo arrive at the battle. They are stopped by Biwahoshi. Midoro attacks Mutsu and Hyogo. However, Midoro is distracted when her foal arrives. Midoro decapitates Hyogo and crushes Mutsu. The demon still has control over their bodies and uses the arms it gave them to mortally wound Midoro. After Mutsu and Hyogo die, Hyakimaru's arms return to him, leaving Tahumaru heartbroken, then enraged. While Tahumaru takes on Hyakimaru, Hyogo and Mutsu fight the demon horse that teamed up with Hyakimaru. Even after severely wounding the horse, Hyogo and Mutsu are defeated by it. The horse rips off Hyogo's head with its mouth and then kicks Mutsu so hard that she loses her replaced arm along with a significant chunk of her chest. But although these are clearly fatal wounds, they are not enough to immediately stop Hyogo and Mutsu. Even without a head, Hyogo's body stands up once more to deal one last blow to the horse. And the same goes for Mutsu's body, which flies up into the air before making one final attack. However, regardless of how it happened or what their bodies do, it is important that Hyogo and Mutsu are killed here. Their deaths allow for Hyakimaru to reclaim the arms he had lost, meaning he only needs his eyes from Tahumaru. He grabs the two sword blades with his new arms and clashes with Tahumaru. Hyakimaru flees when he senses Dororo and Oku's sadness. As he runs away, he asks himself, what is a human? Most of the civilians who live on Daigo's land also seem to think that Hyakimaru should give up his own life so that they can live in peace, or at least those who know about him. As far as they are concerned, he should be honored to be sacrificed and become the hero of the people. Luckily for Hyakimaru, he is not alone in his views. Dororo also believes that Hyakimaru shouldn't be forced to sacrifice himself for people who never cared about him to begin with. And although it takes her a while to get around to this conclusion, Lady Nui sort of believes the same. The story takes an interesting turn as Nui proposes a different approach for the people of Daigo. Instead of relying on someone else to create a prosperous land for them, she suggests that they take matters into their own hands and work together to build a better future. As tensions rise, Hyakimaru and Tahumaru find themselves locked in another intense battle. However, this time, Hyakimaru's reach has extended even further. The clash between the brothers echoes throughout the castle, their conflicting desires and destinies colliding. Amidst the chaos, a small candle is knocked over, igniting a fire that quickly engulfs the surroundings. The flames dance and flicker, threatening to consume everything in their path. It is in this perilous moment that Hyakimaru fights with unwavering determination, knowing that he must retrieve his last two missing body parts. Meanwhile, Dororo, Biwa Hoshi-oku, and the villagers gather together, discussing the profound significance of Hyakimaru's journey and the countless lives that are intertwined with it. They contemplate the value of one individual's quest for wholeness compared to the collective well-being of the entire village. Driven by their unwavering bond, Oku and Dororo rush towards the burning castle, their hearts filled with concern for Hyakimaru's safety. The flames cast an eerie glow, heightening the sense of urgency and danger as they navigate through the treacherous inferno. The intensity of the situation keeps us on the edge of our seats, eagerly awaiting the resolution of this gripping chapter in their intertwined destinies. The day begins with an intense clash between Tahumaru and Hyakimaru, their fierce battle unfolding amidst the raging inferno that engulfs Daigo Castle. Both brothers lay claim to the castle and their mother, their conflicting desires fueling the flames of their confrontation. As the chaos ensues, Oku, filled with determination, ventures into a hidden passage that leads to the heart of the castle. Before she embarks on this perilous journey, she turns to Dororo, her voice filled with both concern and hope. She asks Dororo to stay by her son's side, just as she has always been there for him. It is a tender moment, a testament to the unwavering bond between mother and child. Inside the castle, Jukai and Oku cross paths, their meeting coinciding with the ongoing battle between the brothers. Their presence adds an additional layer of complexity to the already tumultuous situation. Jukai, with his wisdom and compassion, brings a sense of perspective as he witnesses the brutal clash between Tahumaru and Hyakimaru. In a surprising turn of events, Hyakimaru gains the upper hand in the battle. However, instead of delivering a fatal blow, he makes a profound decision. Recognizing the shared humanity between them, he chooses not to kill Tahumaru. It is a moment of empathy and understanding, a testament to Hyakimaru's growth and his recognition that they are both products of their circumstances. In response, Tahumaru, acknowledging his defeat, concedes. It is a moment of realization for him, a recognition that their paths have diverged and that Hyakimaru's journey has led him down a different path. The weight of their shared history hangs in the air, as they come to terms with the consequences of their choices. The story takes a dark and dramatic turn. The demon's control over Tahomaru is truly chilling, and the removal of Hyakimaru's eyes adds another layer of intensity. But Hyakimaru's triumph over the demon beneath the floor brings a glimmer of hope. It is heartbreaking to see Oku apologize to both her sons, and her decision to stay with Tahomaru in his final moments is truly touching. The news of Tahomaru's passing reaches Daigo, yet he remains steadfast in his war efforts, showing a lack of remorse or change. As the final demon statue crumbles, Dororo's determination shines through. She decides to use the money to help the people build their own country, a testament to her selflessness and desire to make a positive impact. And finally, Hyakimaru's encounter with his father in the Hall of Hell is a significant moment. It is disheartening to see that Daigo has learned nothing from his past actions, suggesting a willingness to sacrifice even his own son to the demons. It is a chilling reminder of the depths of his ambition. Daigo's regret over leaving Hyakimaru to a midwife instead of taking more drastic measures is a haunting revelation. It is a reflection of the weight of his past choices and the consequences they have had on his family. When Hyakimaru confronts his father, he chooses not to take revenge, but instead warns him about the dangers of becoming a demon. It is a powerful moment that showcases Hyakimaru's strength of character and his ability to rise above the cycle of violence. Daigo, on the other hand, ponders the possibility that if he hadn't made a pact with a demon, Hyakimaru might have possessed the strength to save the land. It is a thought-provoking reflection on the consequences of his actions and the potential for a different outcome. As Hyakimaru embarks on a journey to find himself, he leaves Dororo behind. It is a bittersweet separation, but it allows Hyakimaru the space to discover his own identity and purpose. In a touching scene, we catch a glimpse of Dororo all grown up, and it seems that she reunites with Hyakimaru in the golden rice fields. This reunion signifies the enduring bond between them and the hope for a brighter future.